Hello, hello, hello. So, for this live, I'm going to be reading this book, Soldiers of Every Vietnam, by Mr. Charles D. Stokes. I'm going to be reading it and learning more about this war I learned about when I was in high school to gain a better perspective and understanding of life, people, war, countries, cultures, on and on it goes. And also to bring honor to this man who had these experiences and was gracious enough to write them down as he understood them, as he lived them. So, with that said, I'll just begin with the dedication. The dedication of this book is for all of my dear friends and relatives. They provided support reading my early drafts, editing, asking questions, and making suggestions that brought my thoughts to fruition. Roy E. and Marty G., Dave P. and Caroline P., Edgar E.J. and Rita J., Justin M. and Kimberly S., Jasmine A. and Sandy, David J. and Brianne S., Dorcas and Donald S., and most of all to my grandbabies. Make reading and writing the love of your life. Danny and Eric too. Eric II. Skylar and Jackson. Trinity and Vanna. Jonah and Sam. God be with you all. So I'll first start with the introduction. This story is based on actual events and the lives of soldiers who served during the Vietnamese War from 1966 through 1974. The characters could be any of the 549,500 troops who were in service during the height of that war. These characters tell real stories. Many are from the author's own experiences, and some from events that happened over the course of the war. The narrative gives a glimpse into the lives of soldiers, their actions in combat, in training, and their personal experiences while living in the barracks and towns in and around military bases. Many of the soldiers in this story come from the lower socio-economic brackets and poverty levels of American society. The soldiers were seeking a home, and they found it in the military service. With the opportunities that the military offered, untethered from the restrictions of a divided and segregated America, they willingly sought to participate in what became a war of opportunity. While others were drafted and served as unwilling participants in a war not fully understood. The stories look into the daily lives of combat soldiers, those who supported them, and the civilians who became involved due to their presence. This story peeks into how the war became intermingled into their personal lives and how it was exploited for personal gain. Author's note. The events in this story unfold over a period of days, weeks, months, and maybe years, but often at the same time. The characters entwine in this continuum to allow the reader's mind to accept some characters as the same person and others as distinct individuals. Either choice is correct. Ooh. Most of the characters do not have names, but the types of identifiers soldiers use. They are recognized in this manner because they represent the hundreds, if not thousands, of soldiers who lived very similar scenarios. Okay, so I take it This book will be a fractal of sorts. And a fractal is like think of a larger shape, like a large triangle itself made out of little triangles. So as you zoom in, you see triangles, and as you zoom out, you see triangles. But these triangles, these fractals, these shapes, these types are all little microcosms, so they're different. I would even say there's like a different shapes itself. It's a fractal of different types, different shapes of characters who live different shapes of situations, all woven together. A very good metaphor for life, actually. This one's called Bangkok. Bangkok, Bangkok, Bangkok. He was thinking as he watched 155 millimeter artillery rounds explode on the hillside just west of the South Vietnamese border. The rounds were dropping within 50 meters of his team, dangerously close. Soldier was 3 days from his fourth rest and recuperation R&R in number 24, the beautiful massage parlor girl that he had met in Bangkok. Thailand at the Easy Massage Parlor. She had written him a letter and mailed it in one of the envelopes that he had self-addressed and given to her before leaving to catch his return flight to the war zone. This had become his practice at the end of each R&R, so that he could receive mail from her until he returned several months later. Her letters were written in broken English scrawl. She wrote that she was waiting and of her undying love. She always concluded her letters saying that she needed more money or she would have to return to work in the massage parlor. Read between the lines. The soldiers in Bangkok. The big jet arrived at Don Muang International Airport in Bangkok at 9 a.m. and disembarked its load of testosterone-fueled government-issued soldiers, GIs, hungry for some R&R. The soldiers were ushered off the jet and across the tarmac to buses waiting to take them to the downtown Bangkok reception area. I'm actually going to look up the picture. So I'm going to share a screen. Tarmac. Alright. Paved surface, particularly at airports, made of tarmacatum, a mixture of crushed stone or tar, bitumen, it's material itself. Okay. Look up the definition so I can get a pronunciation.
Tarmac.
Tarmac, okay. Okay. All right. So the soldiers were ushered off the jet and across the tarmac to buses waiting to take them to the downtown Bangkok reception area. Okay, let's look at that up. Bangkok reception area. From I'll say 1960. I'll put it like 1960s. So, okay. So, the bus was air conditioned and glided smoothly at 100 kilometers per hour down a modern 4-lane highway. Soldiers stared out of the bus window, mesmerized as he listened to the sound of the bus's diesel engine. He watched the smooth flow of traffic and thought, this is simply amazing. A 1.5 hour airplane ride has transferred me from one world to another, from the jungles of Vietnam to modern civilization. Most of the roads near Soldiers' Base Camp were poorly maintained, rutted and congested, with small 50cc motorcycles, old cargo trucks from the French colonial era, and rice farmers plodding along with two-wheel carts drawn by water buffalo. Look up the 50cc motorcycles. Sorry, I want to get visuals for this because I have aphantasia, so I can't actually visualize stuff. And also, I'm not familiar with certain things, and I think overall it enhances the experience to be able to see these things. Okay, so 50cc. Okay. Can even ask my friend Fee, who's from Vietnam, because he sells motorcycles. Let me be further with this. And old cargo trucks from the French colonial era. So, okay. Old French trucks. Okay. True, I've seen these. Yeah. All right. So, and the rice farmers plodding along with two-wheel carts drawn by water buffalo. Yeah, I've seen those before. I have no idea. Rice farmers. Rice farmers with two-wheel carts. Okay. That's pretty cool. All right, let's continue. The poor road conditions meant that most supplies had to be flown by air to their destinations. When raw materials were needed by land, heavily guarded truck convoys delivered them. Several maintenance vehicles handling repairs as the trucks motored along axle braking routes always accompanied the convoys. The bus continued its journey to the reception station. Cars of all sizes, large modern cargo trucks, and small three-wheeled vehicles jockeyed for position on the busy thoroughfare. Soldiers felt a surge of excitement as he heard the throaty rumble of motorcycles. From the bus window, he watched, fascinated as a dozen motorcyclists riding racing bikes with 125cc engines and some with 250cc or larger engines put along the bus side. Most of the sleek, beautiful bikes were brightly colored cherry red, blue striped Hondas, gunmetal silver, and glossy yellow striped Yamahas, shiny bright silver and white Suzukis, and a sleek black satin Kawasaki that had the manufacturer's logo engraved in the flaming red on its chassis. The skills of the riders were evident as they cruised beside the bus. The motorcyclists performed maneuvers that made their bikes pop up on the rear wheel, almost vertical to the road, as they sped down the thoroughfare. When the front wheel touched pavement again, the motorcyclists would lay flat on their bikes, kick their legs back, and rest their feet on small studs that stuck out from the rear of the bike seats. In this prime horizontal position, the motorcyclists peeped through small clear plastic windshields as they sped away at breathtaking speeds. The riders deftly cut in and out of traffic, dodging death at 150 kilometers per hour. See, all these, I can discuss these with my friend Fee because, he's very familiar with motorcycles. So he can unfold this whole scene for me as far as how he understands these different engines and why this scene is so fascinating. Though I can actually visualize the scene, looks pretty cool. Really like a cool scene, like if you're watching a movie. So, after arriving at the reception center, the soldiers were led inside where they were given an orientation briefing by a bored, skinny Army first lieutenant. The lieutenant's only job was to brief each plane load off U.S. soldiers as they came in for R&R. The lieutenant lectured them on the local customs, the hazards of being drunk in public, and gave a warning about the high rate of venereal disease that the troops commonly refer to as the clap. Don't clap your hands for that. After an hour of haranguing, I've seen that word before, I've never used it before. It's kind of like the word squirrel. I've only written that word like 3 times my whole entire life. Harangue. Come on. Harangue. A lengthy and aggressive speech.
Harangue.
Harangue. Oh, haranguing. Okay. I almost think of like a soldier, like, get alive, soldier! You know. So, so the lieutenant released the soldiers to the outside slew of waiting 3-wheeled taxi cabs known as tuk-tuks. Interesting. That's pretty cool. Let me look that up. I know what a taxi cab looks like, but I want to see if they look similar to the taxi cabs I've seen these days, or if like they've changed. Tuk-tuk. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Okay. As Soldier exited the reception center, 3 taxi cab drivers ran up to him yelling in broken English, "Taxi, taxi, I take you to best hotel." Soldier selected the driver who seemed to speak better English than the others and got into his 3-wheeled tuk-tuk taxi cab. Soldier told the driver to take him to the Thai Hotel Bangkok located on the Chao Phraya River. Let me actually see how do you pronounce that. Yeah. This is how it looks like now. Let's see how it looked like in 1960s. Okay. Oh, okay. Looks pretty cool. Let me see. I don't actually know how to pronounce this, so. Let's see this one too. Looks pretty cool. Definition. Oh, so Fry I pronounce Preya. Okay, Preya is a Thai word meaning of higher rank or noble. Okay, Preya is a title used for individuals of high status or nobility. Oh, Preya. All right. Almost like Preya. Say a little prayer for you. All right. So, that's pretty cool. Well, if I ever visit Thailand, hey, Preya. So, a friend of soldiers who had been to Bangkok on R&R said that the Thai Hotel Bangkok had only been recently built and was a classy place. On the way to the hotel, the taxi driver told Soldier, "I drive for you. All time, $50. The driver continued in broken, staccato English. "I be driver every day, night. All time you want. I take you go see good time." Soldier only had the small map that each soldier got at the reception center, and the driver could speak passable English, so Soldier took him up on the deal. The driver appeared genuinely pleased when Soldier agreed. The driver asked, "You want buy sapphire ring? I know best place." This is how I sound like when I try to speak Spanish or any of the languages I'm practicing. Very broken and like fragmented, but hey, people understand me fairly well, so much appreciated, honestly. Soldier had heard that Thailand was famous for its black star sapphire rings. His friend had shown him one that he had bought while in Bangkok, and Soldier wanted one. "You buy now, maybe you no money after 3-4 days," the driver said. Soldier thought that the driver was quite possibly right. Soldier's friend had told him that he had dropped 3 months' pay and was flat broke by day 4 of his 5-day R&R. Soldier said, "Okay, what the hell? I'll take a look." The driver nodded and deftly navigated through the maze of traffic. He'd crossed the median, darting in and out of oncoming traffic, barely avoiding collisions. When the tuk-tuk cab approached intersections, there were uniformed policemen, directing traffic using hand traffic signals. The sharply dressed officers wore tan khaki uniforms, military-style hats with visors, spit-shine black boots, and a whistle that they blew shrilly as they motioned for traffic to advance or stop. Soldier's driver and most of the other drivers ignored officers and leaned on their vehicle horns as they played dodge cars through the intersections. Hey, I mean, regulations, very interesting how these things get maintained. It actually makes me wonder about how fines were getting given to people, the legal system, law enforcement, resources for police, prisons, on and on it goes. Perhaps you don't even have enough policemen, on and on it goes. So it's like you can actually tell a lot about the situation, about the structure of law and order and so on when it comes to punishment, maintenance, and deployment even. Or it could have just been this particular day, but this seems quite common because there seems to be this sense like they know they can do that and they can get away with it. So that's how it tends to be in countries that are not like as you could say, hyper orderly when it comes to like external structures, but then also lacking internal order in terms of like character and so on like that too. So it's still quite typical here in different areas. Hell, even like with jaywalking or something, or there's I don't wait for like if I press like the walking button, I just run across. So this is very human, and I'm saying this because I want to kind of make connections. Where because sometimes people look at these kind of situations and they're like, oh, these uncivilized. Like, no, we do the same thing here. It's just you're just kind of used to it, so you can't tell you do the same thing. But when you see it in a different environment with different looking people going on. But here's the picture of the fractal. See, like shapes made out of other shapes and stuff like that. I mean, people who do psychedelics, they also see these too, but also mathematicians experiment with this. But this was the main example I was kind of giving right here. It's kind of the fractal that I prefer because it's a lot more structured and fixed, and I don't like these kind of trippy ones because my head doesn't feel good when I look at them. Yeah, so but some people like these kind of experiences and they look for them, but for me it's just like whatever. Unless like it's an actual design on clothes or something. So I like fractals and that I can experience, but I don't like it as like an overall horizon or space. I like it on like as a design on like clothes, or maybe if somebody like drew it or painted or something, and I knew the person crafted it and it came out of their mind. But this kind of naturally throws me into like a sense of this is too trippy for me. So it's like yeah. Anyway, let me get back. Soldier's driver and most of the other drivers ignored the officers and leaned on their vehicle horns as they played dodge cars through the intersections. Apparently, this was routine driving. Yeah, more of a free for all, seeing who would chicken out first. Plain chicken. Soldier thought to himself, I've been dodging bullets for 7 months in a war zone, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let some kamikaze Thai taxi cab driver kill me. After several near misses, Soldier hollered to the driver over the noise of honking horns and squealing brakes. Slow down and stay on your side of the road. Yeah, it's very interesting how like the Soldier kamikaze Thai, fusing Japanese with Thai. This is how it is when you're like an outsider to any culture. You'll kind of like associate them with whatever group of people look similar and whatever, I guess, if that similarity is like a culture you've been exposed to prior, they're almost like a filter that you use, or even like an adjective in this case that you use to like access other people, other cultures, and so on. So it's like it's one of those creative associative features of like decrypting people groups, decrypting languages, decrypting situations, and so on. People be like, "Oh, that's racist. You're trying to be like, all Asian people are the same," and it's like, it's more of trying to find a through line, noting some sort of the similarity allows you to be like, here, I can attribute this to this, and that. Other times it's just people just being ignorant and being like, well, I've been exposed to this and this looks similar, so therefore, I guess they're the same. I can reference them by the same. Another way I could put it is like, you can call missimilarity, where you have organic grapes, plastic grapes, and painted grapes. They're all grapes, but they're different materials, different resonances, different experiences, and that's how it can be like when you're dealing with like people groups that look similar, or people groups that even come from a closer ancestor, if you will, or people groups from a particular location. It's one of those features. Gestalt psychology, how we organize people, how we decrypt similarities, and how we even try to navigate differences where if people are going in a similar direction, we call them, like we consider that a group, common fate. If people have similar features, we consider them a group. If people are next to each other, we consider them a group, and so on. So there are also different ways we find ways to group and try to decrypt and understand different people and so on. And it's one of those fascinating features. So I just wanted to digest this because it might seem like a insignificant, I guess, written situation, but I do know people who are sensitized to this, where they can feel like, oh, I'm being grouped and recognized as on the basis of my similarity, and then I'm being interpreted through a group, and then I'm being interpreted through a group I'm similar to that I may not even identify with or actually belong to. So it's just one of those interesting features with people. But yeah, aside from that, the driver suddenly and expertly swerved into a space that looked too small for the three-wheeled cab. The driver squeezed out of the cab, climbed over the front of the vehicle, walked around to the open back where a soldier was sitting, and said, "This best store to buy sapphire ring. He my friend. Good deal." Soldier followed the driver into a well-lit and air-conditioned store. Upon entering the store, Soldier was immediately greeted by a beautiful young Thai woman. The young woman bowed gracefully from the waist, placed her palms together, and brought them up in front of her face. After bowing, she straightened upright and waved her hand. Almost instantly, another young hostess girl appeared with a tray. On the tray were a frosted mug and a bottle of Singha beer. Pouring the beer, she said, "You drink and look at rings." Soldier took the cold mug and tasted the contents. It was cold and very refreshing. He liked its golden amber color and slightly bitter taste. He drank half the mug, burped, and downed the rest to find that almost before he had finished, the hostess was pouring more beer into the glass. The first young woman gestured toward a glass display case full of glittering jewelry and black star sapphire rings. Soldier stared in disbelief at the sheer number and size of the stones. Some were set in gold with diamonds and others unset. Each stone was spangled with a beautifully brilliant white 6-point star. Some larger oval stones shone with 12 points. There was one much larger unset stone. It was displayed alone in its own showcase. The stone was a musty, cool yellow color that glistened more brilliantly than the others. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Soldier asked, "How much is that one?" His mouth dropped open in shock when the hostess told him the price. "That very special stone, very hard find, costs too much," she said. "It will take me 3 years' pay to buy that beauty." Soldier said, shaking his head in disbelief. The cool temperature of the store and the stout but very pleasant tasting beer made Soldier relax. After 3 beers, Soldier had bought two top quality, less expensive Black Star sapphire rings. It's quite typical. I mean, gratification and enticement from material beauty, and obviously in this case, feminine beauty. In fact, let's look at some Thai people. They will probably give us some stock images of different types of Thai people. Oh, nice. That's pretty cool. So yeah. It's pretty cool. So interesting. It says, "Do Thai people have hope for the future?" And then it puts the smart people are leaving. I don't know what's going on in Thailand, but I guess it's worth looking into what's going on with Thailand today. Maybe I'll do that for another video, like sort of like, oh, let's look at news from other places that I've been exposed to and get a sense of them, even like history from these places. Be pretty cool. Anyway, As Soldier and the driver walked back to the cab, Soldier asked the driver if all of the Thai women were as beautiful as the ones in the jewelry store. The driver said, "Many more beautiful than them. You want to see?" Exhilarated, Soldier responded, "Let's go." Exactly. See, I don't blame this guy. I got to get me one. This guy. Okay, I blame him now. Taxi driver said, "First we go to hotel, then I show you many beautiful girls." When the two arrived at the hotel, it was the nicest that Soldier had ever stayed in. It was so upscale, he felt uncomfortable. Before Soldier could get out of his tuk-tuk taxi, a porter ran over and grabbed the suitcase. Soldier had bought in the small concession store, left the war zone. Like one of those people who get your stuff. Porter who gets a suitcase. I'd rather put an image to it than just reading a definition. Because I'm pretty sure it's just, okay, cool. True. Yeah, I figured much, yeah. It's really interesting. You can tell I've not traveled much, or I'm not used to like lots of different words. But hey, we're all learning here. So the porter said in good English, "Please follow me to check in." The lobby was cool and smelled faintly of jasmine and some other exotic fragrance that Soldier could not quite place. Everyone in the hotel was courteous and very polite as Soldier was ushered through check-in and escorted to his room. With everything happening at once, Soldier had forgotten about his bag until he arrived on the 8th floor and was being shown to his room. He paused at the door to his room and asked the porter, "Where's my bag?" The porter bowed and gestured into the room. Inside, Soldier saw that his few changes of clothes had been unpacked and neatly laid out. His pants and shirts had been pressed and were neatly hanging in the closet area. Soldier was baffled by how the staff had done all of this so quickly. The porter waited patiently as Soldier looked around the room and then turned to give him a 50 baht note. The porter placed his hands together and said, "Kap kun krab," bowed at the waist and backed out of the room. Look that up. First 50 baht. 50 baht. Okay. Like 1.47 United States dollars. Okay. Wow. I wonder how that would have been like back then. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then Kab Kun Krab. Probably pronouncing it wrong. Kab Kun Krab. Die for thank you. Oh. Okay. I don't want to hear it. Let me see if there's a way to pronounce it. Kab Kun Ka. Oh, okay. So there's actually they also have masculine and feminine versions in the language. I'm not that familiar with the Thai language. And the letters. Well, I only have exposure to Burmese letters as far as thinking about their the proximate, characterization of these letters, like the notation. I wonder if these were also written on leaves, but they're not as swirly as the Burmese letters. So, pronunciation. Let's see, pronunciation. It's like R. Grup, grup. Gup, gun, grup. Okay. Gup, gun. Grup. Article used by men that never sentence indicating politeness and gender. Oh, okay. So in terms of honorifics, okay. Thank you, okay. Like this implies there is a culture of actually let me look that up. Actually I'm curious in the Thai language. Let me use my programmed AI actually for examining this. Alright, cool. What is it? Unfold the tie. Language. And culture. Phenomenologically. Ecologically. Developmentally. Ecologically, developmentally. Physiologically. Compared and contrasted with English. Actually, American. I'll say American. American English. The kinds I use. So let's see. Let's see. All right, I'll come back to this. So, Soldier was astonished as he continued to look around the room in more detail. He thought, this is not a room. This is a suite fit for a king. Yeah, I mean, all the stops. Almost has me feeling a bit suspicious, but hey, for like quality and I wonder about, I guess, the economic structure, corruption, potential benevolence of the people who gave this hotel. On and on it goes. All the different intersecting virtues and vices that make up the situation that allows this kind of luxury. And I guess maybe even honoring or drawing in people of these types of soldiers and so on, or even foreigners. These are things to keep in mind. So we'll see. The room was brightly lit and more luxurious than anything he had ever seen. There was a soft king-size bed made up with silk sheets and overstuffed pillows, a large television set on a table at the foot of the bed, a bar with a mahogany chest stocked with many liquor bottles, and beer in chilled glass in a small refrigerator. In one corner of the suite was a larger horizontal luxurious letter S, undulating shaped chair with a high back. Soldier thought, what an uncomfortable looking chair. Moving around the suite, he saw that the bathroom was finished in marble with a glass enclosed shower and a jacuzzi tub that was as large as a small swimming pool. Dozens of soft terry cloth towels and over a dozen different fragrantly scented soaps, shampoos, and bath oils decorated the shelves. Soldier thought, I've died and gone to heaven. This place is unreal. After exploring the suite, Soldier went over to the bar, took out a beer, poured it into one of the frosted glasses, and then took his first sip as he walked over to look out of the windows. He had a fantastic view of downtown Bangkok and of the river that meandered through its center. Soldier was immediately startled back to reality as he glanced down and saw several taxi drivers waiting for their respective GIs across the street from the hotel under the shade of palm trees. Soldier quickly showered, changed clothes, and took the elevator down to the lobby. As he stepped outside into the 98-degree heat, he felt faint and reeled. Ooh, it's hot. Taxi driver, who had been waiting by by the door, 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Because I have friends who would have Celsius. So yeah. And grabbed the soldier's arm to steady him and said, too much beer, as he guided him toward his tuk-tuk. Soldier said, let's go get some of those pretty sweet-ass women you've been telling me about. Taxi driver said in a fatherly tone, no, we go eat first. You get drunk, no fun. And bad guys beat you up and take your money. As the driver sped through the bustling streets, the warm, flowing air revived Soldier. Soldier was hungry and realized that he had not eaten in over 24 hours. The driver stopped at an open-air eatery that was situated on the banks of the Chao Phraya River. The river snaked its way through downtown Bangkok and served as a major axis of water commerce for the city. All along its banks were restaurants and businesses. The structures were built partially on the bank of the river, with a portion built on piers or bamboo stilts that jutted out over the water. But dang, you're not eating for over 24 hours. It's tough. The driver took Soldier to one of the restaurants that sat on stilts completely over the river with the exception of its riverbank entrance. Once inside, two found a table, seated themselves, and a waiter came over. The driver said something to the waiter in rapid Thai as he nodded and looked over at Soldier. Within a few minutes, the waiter reappeared with several bowls containing foods the Soldier could not identify with, the exception of the rice. Interesting. Let me look that up. Let's see. I'm curious. Thailand food. All right. I gotta visit Thailand. I'm not sure if I've had it, but definitely does look similar, like familiar Chinese or some Japanese, even some Korean, but mostly Chinese. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's one of those things. Actually, let me look at map of Thailand, so people have an idea. Now we're doing geography, I guess. So Thailand, Bangkok's right here. And Burma. Hello, Tay. So yeah. Laos, Vietnam. So yeah, they're all like, oh, Cambodia. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Very interesting. Chiang Mai. Pretty cool to visit these places. Oh, I forgot where I was. Okay, I got caught up in the food. Anyway. Oh, this is still good food, but yeah. So food for thought. Where was I? Within a few minutes, the waiter reappeared with several bowls containing foods that Soldier could not identify with the exception of the rice. The driver served Soldier some of the food in a small bowl and urged him to eat. After serving Soldier, the driver then served himself. Soldier watched the driver eating hungrily, so he tentatively tried one of the dishes and discovered that it was quite delicious. He found that the food was tasty, hot, spicy, and filling. Soon, Soldier too was eating heartily and asking for more. After eating, Soldier was feeling much better. Can we go and see the girls now? Soldier asked. The driver smiled as he said, We go now. You see very beautiful girl. The two rode for about 15 minutes before the driver pulled up to a storefront. The storefront had a sign printed in English that read, Easy Massage Parlor. Upon entering the parlor, Soldier was greeted by a beautiful hostess. The hostess ushered him over to what looked like a bar. At the bar sat several tall chairs. As Soldier approached the bar and sat down, he was surprised to see a glass window that ran from 3 feet above the floor to the ceiling. Standing behind the window were 15 or 20 of the most beautiful young women he had ever seen. They were dressed in tight shorts and tops that revealed their fit, shapely bodies. They sat there as though they were in a fishbowl, some reading, others chatting with their friends. The driver said, You like? Choose any girl. Pay money, and she gave a massage. It was a dream come true. Soldier could not believe that he could choose any one of these lovely beauties to be his for an hour, even if it was only for a massage. Each girl had a number buttoned to her blouse. After several wrenching changes of mind, Soldier finally chose number 8. The hostess in a beautiful soft Thai sing-song voice went over and spoke into the microphone, announcing to the selected girl that she had a customer. Reminds me of y'all probably know the scene from Rush Hour. Was it Rush Hour 2 or Rush Hour? Not Rush Hour 3, maybe. But Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Well, if you haven't seen the movie, it's fine. But went to the massage parlor. Yeah. Reminds me of this scene. When Chris Tucker was like, I don't even know what he said, but he's like, goodness gracious. Yeah. This guy. I feel like, bro, I understand you, Chris. I understand. But you gotta fight this. It's a spiritual warfare. It's war. What is it good for? Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. All right. So, Soldier watched as number 8 got up and walked to the door. Then number 8 came to the front of the parlor to see who her customer was. She exchanged some words with the hostess, looked over at Soldier, and shook her head. She then turned, walked back to the fishbowl, and sat down. What's wrong? Soldier thought. He looked at his driver, defeated. Soldier knew that all this was just a dream too good to be true. The driver quickly reassured the heartbroken Soldier that it was okay. He said, no sweat, you choose another girl. Some girl no like GI. Same you. Dejected, Soldier was kicking himself for thinking that he could score with a girl as beautiful as number 8. Taxi driver, seeing Soldier's disappointment again, urged him to select another girl. Soldier looked again, this time at number 24, whom he had almost selected the first time. Number 24, he told the hostess. Number 24 came out of the fishbowl, exchanged a few words with the hostess, nodded approval, and waited for Soldier to come over. Soldier looked at taxi driver, who had a big smile on his face, nodding his head enthusiastically in approval. Number 24 smiled, showing a beautiful set of white teeth. She was perhaps 18 or 19 years old, with long, shapely legs and shoulder-length flowing hair. Her hair was dark and almost black auburn color. After what seemed like an eternity, number 24 said, Hi, my name is Linda. You want full massage? Soldier, not sure what to say, just shook his head up and down, as if memorized. He watched her behind as it gently wiggled when she walked over to pick up a tray of towels and what appeared to be bottles of oil. She took his hand into her soft but firm grip and led him into a room that had a wide massage table covered in white linen. Soldier observed a large bathtub that sat in one corner. Linda started running water into the big tub. She told Soldier to get undressed as she busied herself pouring oils and powder into the water. She turned around in feigned shock and asked, Why are you not undressed? You take bath with clothes on? Linda giggled, while Soldier stood embarrassed, not knowing what to do. She gently sat him down on the massage table, knelt down, and untied his shoes. Linda pulled Soldier's shoes and socks off his feet, stood him up, then fastened his belt and let his pants drop to the floor. Soldier stood there as if in shock. Linda continued lifting each of Soldier's legs to remove his pants. Finally, Linda hung Soldier's pants on a hanger. Soldier now stood there in a button-up shirt. Linda then began to slowly unbutton the shirt. What's a skeevy? I'm taking some sort of like boxers or something. Skeevies meaning. Okay, skeevies. See, I never heard that before. Interesting. I guess boy shorts, trunks. Okay. Fascinating. Okay. She was so close to Soldier that her breast rubbed over so lightly against his chest as she worked. Of course, she's doing this on purpose. Obviously, we know. We're not naive here. Well, if you were naive, you're no longer naive. Yeah. Anyway, so she took the shirt and hung it neatly on the hanger with his pants. Linda looked at Soldier and said, Only one more thing to take off. Soldier swallowed hard. He didn't understand. He had never been shy around other girls he had been with before. Strangely, Linda made him feel like a teenage boy again. Soldier stammered, I just had a shower before coming here. Linda said, smiling. You pay money for full massage? You get full massage. She grabbed the legs of his boxers and slid them down until they caught on his now budding erection. She stopped and gently lifted his boxers over the erection, allowing her fingers to slightly stroke it as she said, He's waking up now. I think you want massage too. Soldier stood completely naked in front of Linda as she admiringly said, You big guy. She then led him over to the large tub, where she tested the water, then scooped in several additional layers of a scented powder. Soldier recognized the fragrance as the same one he had smelled in the hotel. The smell made him feel relaxed as Linda helped him ease into the warm water. Pattern, pattern, pattern. So you may start thinking there's collaboration here, which it'd be feasible, like functional to expect, how these situations play out. So if you're usually there's like collaboration with these kind of situations and how they play out and so on. So just be on your toes. And also, this is he's a young soldier, so it's not that exposed to the world, not that exposed to people's character, and not that exposed to art of deception, strategy, and fool's gold, and on and on it goes. Lacks discernment and wisdom. Kind of like a young man who is warned in the book of Proverbs, which I may actually look at the end of this, depending on how this plays out, because I already started making predictions about what's going to happen in this situation. We'll see. So anyway, what was I saying? A soldier approached the bar and sat down. Oh yeah, hold up. Oh yeah, I'm over here. Yeah. The smell made him feel relaxed as Linda helped him ease into the warm water. Linda lathered a soft washcloth with scented soap and thoroughly scrubbed Soldier's body from head to toe. She washed between his legs last, being very careful, as Soldier's erection now stood at full attention. Linda shampooed his hair, leaving a very pleasant scent of lilac. After she finished bathing him, Linda stood Soldier up and dried him with the tenderness of a newborn baby. As Soldier sat at the massage table, she asked, "You like to drink beer?" Soldier said, "Yes." Linda went to a cabinet refrigerator, removed a large bottle of beer, and poured Soldier a tall glass. Soldier slowly sipped his beer as he took in what now seemed surreal. Linda took the beer glass and sat it on a side table. She then had Soldier lay face down on the table and began what would be the most exotic and relaxing experience of his life. Linda poured warm oils on his backside and slowly rubbed it in with her fingers. Her fingers moved mechanically, kneading, penetrating, and relaxing every muscle. Linda climbed onto the table and slowly began to walk up and down on Soldier's back. He grunted as she placed her weight, but they were grunts of pure pleasure. Linda then rolled Soldier over onto his back and placed a towel across his midsection. She massaged his scalp, neck, chest, arms, fingers, torso, legs, feet, and toes. She gave minute attention to every inch of his body, relaxing every muscle as she finished. The towel that lay across Soldier's midsection now stood as erect as the center pole of a tent. Linda looked at Soldier and smiled as she removed the towel. "You want me to massage him too?" she asked. Soldier croaked hoarsely from somewhere deep in his soul. "Yes, please." Soldier lay there, watching as Linda. She slowly poured warm oil into her hands and rubbed them quickly together. She then gently took Soldier's erection into her hand and slid it up and down slowly. Using her other hand, Linda poured on more oil as she increased the speed of her hands up and down. Suddenly, Soldier's body started to convulse. He raised his arm up over his head as if he was stretching, and his mouth gaped open as though he was yawning. Linda immediately stopped all motion, removed her hands, and started to rub Soldier's arms and chest. She calmly whispered soothing words in his ear that he did not understand. Soldier's body was now twitching as if small electrical currents were being fired through it. Linda looked directly into Soldier's eyes. They were pleading. She picked up the towel and wiped the oil from her hands. As she touched him again, she used her hands to stroke hard up and down. The change in pressure around his midsection caused Soldier to gasp. His body arched spasmodically so that only the back of his head and the heels of his feet touched the massage table. Linda continued to stroke, on the downstroke, hitting the root hard, and on the upstroke, squeezing and pulling up to release the pressure near the top. It only took 4 complete stroke cycles before Soldier let out a gasp. His body quivered and jerked up violently before he moaned and collapsed on the massage table. Linda left Soldier briefly to get a warm washcloth. When she returned, she gently wiped Soldier clean. Linda patted Soldier and said, "You like massage?" in a dry, croaking voice. Soldier gave a weak reply, "Yes, very much." Linda helped Soldier get dressed and in an unassuming manner asked him, "You like I stay with you?" Soldier was stunned. This beautiful girl was asking him if he wanted her to stay with him. Stammering, he said, "Yes, you can stay with me as long as you want." She smiled again and said, "You wait here." In a few minutes, Linda returned. She explained to Soldier that she could go with him and stay until the next morning for $30. The Soldier gave... Interesting, because the sapphire, if you remember, the sapphire cost $1.48. No, wait. The 50 baht. Okay. 50 baht. This is $1.47 United dollars. So 30 times 5, say 150 baht. Let's look at 150 baht. What this can buy. This can buy in modern Thailand today. I don't know what this is. I'm curious. 50 baht with this. Nah. Let me see what I can buy. This can buy. Whatever. Let me just put it into like US dollars or something. Basically. No, that's. No, she said, I'm dumb. Whatever. You know. It doesn't matter. 30 US dollars. Just basically $30. Whatever. Pretty sure just converts to more money. 30. No, hold up. $30 to baht. Oh, okay. See, that's what I should have done. I did backwards. I'm so dumb. Okay. Let's see what you can get with this. Today, even, because I'm pretty sure it's more than. Or actually, let me look at maybe like the average pay. Let me see. Maybe they have a category called minimum wage. Minimum wage in Thailand. So 337 to 400 Thai bahts, depending on the province. So that's almost, if you say 370 baht per day, that's almost 3 days worth of current minimum wage. Okay. For the sex worker. Plausibly trafficked even. So yeah. So yeah, or maybe just, poor family had to do prostitution or whatever, or get involved with this, like, how different girls get involved with porn and so on. So yeah, just one of those things. So Soldier gave Linda the money. Linda told Soldier to wait outside with his driver. Within 10 minutes, Linda came out of the massage parlor carrying what looked like a large purse and joined Soldier in the taxi. It was now late evening, and the streetlights of Bangkok were on. The nightlife was beginning. The driver told Soldier, "You go to hotel, find rest, and then we go to number 1 restaurant and nightclub." Soldier thought, why not? He hasn't been wrong yet. Linda was impressed that Soldier had chosen to stay in one of the most elegant hotels. She said, "You big best hotel, very nice." This compliment made Soldier feel good. Once the two reached the room, Linda said that she wanted to shower and change clothes before they went out. She went to a bathroom and returned 30 minutes later, looking even more beautiful than before. Soldier had never seen such a beautiful woman in the movie back home. He was pleased that this woman was with him. Young men, I swear. So naive. So beauty. Sorry, it's understandable. That night, the driver took Soldier and Linda to what would be classified as a 5-star restaurant back in the States. The driver helped Soldier and Linda out of his cab, that he would wait. Soldier and Linda were greeted at the door and shown immediately to a cozy, dimly lit corner table. Soft drum beats, soft whispering notes of the flute, and the melodious voice of a female. Thai singer drifted from the hidden speakers as the waiter materialized and placed linen napkins on their laps. Actually, let's check this out. Let's see if we can listen to some Thai music. Just however it may sound. Let's see. Oh, Thai Overture. That's one of my favorite movies. Fact. Actually, yeah. Let me play you one of my favorite pieces. I used to listen to this a lot in the past. This is pretty cool too. But probably how Soldier be feeling. If y'all can hear this. Yeah. I mean, I'll have to rewatch that movie. Actually, I haven't watched it since I think I was like 20. It's like 11 years ago. Well, yeah, that's a interesting scene. It definitely did wake me up when I was watching it because it was like it's falling in love. That was the scene when he fell in love when he saw her and he started playing. And beautiful movie. I don't even remember the plot. I forgot who he is too, but I know I watched this movie like years ago and I was just watching lots of stuff on Netflix and YouTube, all sorts of different places. It's super exploratory now. I'm glad it's coming back. So anyway, yeah. So that's Thai music by a famous Thai musician and so on. Actually, let me look him up. I forgot. What is this about? Ranad. Harmony with tradition and modern, the East and the West, old and new, father and son was also great. Yeah, I love those are great themes. And the father plays Ranad, the son plays the piano. Yeah, I love this. It's actually a very, I guess I can almost put it as like it's symbolic of a lot of my interest. It's very synthetic, bringing together different backgrounds. It's like a type of, like long. There's like a type of music to unfold. So yeah. During that time, many people were learning Thai music. I wanted it to be good movies, something related to Thai music like this. Before that, I was speaking with Ranat. When the movie came, I became even more fascinated. Bring a song to sit and rap. Very happy. Beautiful, beautiful. So, yeah, let me continue. Where was I? That night, the driver took Soldier and Linda to what would be classified as a 5-star restaurant back in the States. The driver helped Soldier and Linda out of his cab and told him that he would wait. Soldier and Linda were greeted at the door and shown immediately to a cozy, dimly lit corner table. Soft drum beats, soft whispering notes of the flute, and the melodious voice of a female Thai singer drifted from the hidden speakers as the waiter materialized and placed linen napkins on their laps. The waiter gave Soldier and Linda menus and then proceeded to ask for their drink orders. Soldier ordered a beer and Linda ordered a Coke. Soldier liked that Linda did not drink hard liquor. Soon the waiter was back with the drinks and took their food order. The two ordered an appetizer combination of satay, a thin sliced skewered roasted meat, a crispy rolled kanum jeeb, a steamed crab meat, pork and water, chestnut dumpling, and fresh squid tossed in a light batter and deep fried until golden brown, served with sweet and sour soy, peanut, and mildly spicy sauces. I don't even know what most of this food is, but the ones I do know, giggity goo. Alrighty, mighty. Let me actually look some of these up. I'm not sure what a saute is. As you can tell, I'm a barbarian, sophisticated. You uncultured swine! Oh, also kebab. Oh, I didn't know what this is. Okay, just did not know the name. I named it a kebab or something. I'm going to go to like different buffets and so on. All right, kanum jeeb. Ooh, dumplings. Oh man. Oh, these. Okay, I'm getting hungry. After a very pleasing. Oh, okay. Let me go to this. Wait a minute. Okay, for the main course, the two dined on grilled halves of Thai barbecue chicken, served with a spicy and sweet sauce, along with sticky rice and papaya salad. For dessert, they enjoyed kanam krok. Let's look at that. Kanam krok. I wonder what kanam means, actually. Maybe I might be able to find a pattern depending on the picture. Oh, okay. I wonder if the kanam denotes the shape of it, since it's cup sized, dumpling sized. Oh, okay, let's see. Kanam meaning. Dessert snack, okay. Rice with milk. Rice mixed with milk, okay. That's pretty cool. I mean, there are rice farmers, so I'm not surprised. Alrighty, mod. So, what's next? So, I mean, it explained a small, creamy, and fragrant bite-sized rich coconut cup dessert cooked in a charcoal heated pan with small craters, resulting in a mouth-watering delight. Yeah. After a very pleasing and delicious dinner, Soldier and Linda were ready for fun. Through the night, the two stopped by several disco clubs. The clubs were packed with GIs, some of whom had just gotten off the plane a short while before, and others on their last night trying to squeeze every drop of freedom and fun out of R&R before their return trip to Vietnam. Each club had pretty bar girls and hustlers selling all sorts of paraphernalia, including marijuana, heroin, and any other drug of choice, to the good time-seeking GIs. The club's walls were vibrating from the loud popular American music being played by live bands. There were flashing disco lights and waiters serving drinks to the thirsty GIs. I'll not be surprised if they're playing the Beatles. Well, they're British, but it's American music, whatever. Hold on. 19. I'm dumb. I can't spell. I can't write. 1960s American music. I forget who was around at this time. Oh yeah, of course the British invasion was here, and I already know Bob Dylan and so on. So yeah, I was right to reference the Beatles because the British invasion, the Beatles, in some ways, even though they're British, they're considered American. So, well, not you know what I mean in terms of like popularity. Rolling Stones, Elvis Presley, Everly Brothers. You're so young, and Everly Brothers. You know you make me wanna shout. I think it's them. Chubby Checker. Not sure if I ever listened to him. Bob Dylan, The Birds. Probably if I don't remember that much. Supremes. Yeah, I remember. You can't hurry love. The Temptations. It was just my imagination. Marvin Gaye. What's going on? The Doors. This is the end. Beautiful friend. And Jefferson are playing that song about the rabbits. I don't remember what it's called. Like Alice in Wonderland, something like that. Matt. Something like that. Whatever. The Grateful Dead. Never listened to them. Beach Boy. Wouldn't it be nice? Yeah, of course. Merle Haggard. Never listened to them. Because I'm not that familiar with country. And of course, hey, I got soul. And I'm super bad. No. So then you got, of course, Vietnam War, civil rights movements, counterculture, all this coming together. Of course, Joan Baez, la da dee 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 dee, la da 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 da. So the music scene was a melting pot of different styles and influences, creating a vibrant, dynamic atmosphere. That's the things that we enjoy. Amen. So naturally, that's what travel internationally, given the nature of the setup. So yeah, 1960s American music. traveling around. So yeah. What's next? What's next? Where was I? Uh, though the night Through the night, the two stopped by several disco clubs. Hey, disco. The clubs were packed with GIs, some of whom had just gotten off the plane a short while before, and others on their last night trying to squeeze every drop of freedom and fun out of R&R before the return grip to Vietnam. Each club had pretty bar girls and hustlers selling all sorts of paraphernalia, including marijuana, heroin, and any other drug of choice, to the good time seeking GIs. The club's walls were vibrating from the loud popular American music being played by live bands. There were flashing disco lights and waiters serving drinks to thirsty GIs. By the way, I'm dumb because I keep reading R&R, but I thought to look it up, and I thought it was like rest and recovery. But let me actually make sure because I'm not sure. And military. My brother has been in the military, so I could ask him. Rest and recuperation, rest and recovery. Okay, I was right. Yeah, rest and relaxation. Yeah, understandable. Rest and recreation, even. Yeah. So this is just free time. And so the fun and like just living it up. It's kind of like when I think of James Bond 007. There's a video about his philosophy, which is very you could say focus on a mission, but since he doesn't know when he'll die, it's nihilistic and it's an active nihilism, but oriented towards hedonism, and not the hedonism that's kind of like peace of mind, like Epicureanism, but like pleasure. Like, ooh, let's just feel good, Let's hang out with sexy women and like gamble and like drink sophisticated wine or whatever, great alcohol and eat great food and just enjoy just the life of the body, the life of the senses. Almost be a type of prodigal without completely like ruining your faculties, and then get back on the mission because it's almost as if you have like a death sentence on you, like you're about to go to the electric chair, so they give you your final meal. So there's a sense like, here, live it up, enjoy as much as you can because you may not get this again. So that's just the nature of the situation as far as I understand. So that's the setup. So next, each club had pretty bar girls and hustlers selling. Yeah, I've already read that part. Okay. All of disco clubs had polished hardwood dance floors, packed with the twisting and gyrating bodies of pretty young Thai girls who loved their American guests. Yeah, I'm surprised, yeah. The GIs were mostly an uncouth, nondescript mixture that would have a hard time back home finding such willing female charm. Yep, typical. I mean, even with the military, like, just on a personal note, I thought about going to the military. I tried to get in twice. I was originally going to go into the Navy. Actually, no. In high school, I thought about joining the Army because I wanted to do something noble. I was like, oh, well, as far as I understand, the best way to do something noble is to, like, serve your country, Like, try to give your life for your country in terms of, like, protection or serving whatever needs to be done. But then, there's a sense of waking up, getting some sort of, like, vague clarity, like, the world is not this as simple as, like, oh, we're the heroes going here and we're fighting against these people and all that. It's really not that simple. And then through that process, eventually, I was like, I guess I'll go in for the sake of order because I needed some structure for my life. And I didn't know what I was doing with my life either, but I was like, well, there's structure there and I'll be part of a mission and I'll be part of something and it'll help me get discipline that I can't give to myself. I was like, this time I was like 20 years old and so on. But I couldn't get in mainly because I had like a plate in my right ankle from when I played football as a kid and so on, amongst other things too. And when it came time to get in, first time trying to get into the Navy, the man who was helping me, Mr. Higdon, remember his first name, he died a few, I think, weeks later, and I don't know why, but that hit me so deeply. Like I broke down crying, and it just very moved me to cry. But back then I was very depressed too, so sometimes something random would just trigger something, and I'd cry like very deeply and intensely, and so that hit me when he. In fact, I think one of the things is because I had bonded with him by sharing with him like just great wrongs I've done in my life and so on. From like that I've talked about in other videos, from being abused sexually and then sexually abusing growing up when I was a kid and so on. And then I shared it with him. And he said when he was in the military, he knew lots of people with stories. He's like there's lots of people and even the U.S. government even who have like crazy stories from like things they've done and so on. And I was like, wow. So yeah, so he was like, this is not unfamiliar to him, not uncommon. So I guess there's a sense of like, wow, he actually He's receiving me as a human being, and he himself as a human being. He's a storage of different people's stories. He's a storage of different people's, you could say, sins even. And he understands like people who are considered in high places, people who are even trying to do noble things, or people who are part of different structures from the military to government also have backgrounds. They have a history. They've done things. That's why you think, like when you hear of like politicians who's like, oh, Obama used to smoke weed in college or something. He broke the law when it was illegal or something like that. Or like such and such person, like like this person dated an underage girl when he was like this old or whatever. Or this woman used to like slept with older men when she was like a teenager in high school, or whatever. Like on and on it goes. You hear like all these different scandals, how people try to sensationalize to depreciate and assassinate people's character in politics and so on. When it's just like these are human beings, and a lot of the people who may rally around to kind of bring these people down, I guarantee a lot of them have done similar, if not certain things that are adjacent, from drugs to breaking different laws to sexual exploitation or whatever, or some sort of illegal sexual involvement or relational involvement, whatever it is and stuff. So it's just no one is innocent, that's the best way I can put it. All have sinned. And if they haven't done it action-wise, then as Jesus knows, it's in the heart. All this starts in the heart. So even if you've never murdered anyone physically, if you've wanted to murder someone in yourself, God sees it. Imagine if people could actually see your thoughts, your desires, your intentions, your daydreams and stuff. Like you're walking around, everyone could see it. It was like it's laid clear, transparent for everyone to see. Whew, that'd be wild. So that's why there's just, I put it as like there's a need for humaneness. And we all ask for mercy and grace. No one actually wants justice against themselves. But if we're in a situation where we say we want justice against other people, then we have to be thoroughly consistent and with true deep integrity request that justice on ourselves too for all our wrongs and so on, irrespective to whether others have done greater and so on. There are people who are worse than me, and there are people who are worse than, but overall I want grace and mercy for all, and grace and mercy towards me, because I can't bear the justice that I know I deserve. So that's why I'm grateful to Jesus for what he's done in my life and where he's brought me. So yeah, let me continue. I guess, well, the tangent I lost was like, young men who, especially in this country where I feel like there's a lack of a wisdom tradition and a lack of a, you could say, depending on where you live, maybe in more rural areas in the past, there'd be more traditions to try to, how do I put it, initiate young men into becoming men, developing masculine virtues, and on it goes, gaining wisdom, especially with the Bible, train a child in which way it should go, and when they get older, they will not leave it. So, like teaching your children the book of Proverbs, book of Ecclesiastes, book of Job, on and on it goes, helping people understand the Bible, and just people gaining wisdom, just learning how to navigate life. But young men definitely need this in terms of like, because if not, you just fall for the stories, you fall for the empty promises. Like if you look on YouTube, there are lots of videos about how to become an alpha male, or like do this and you'll be like better than like most men or all men or whatever. And I'm like, if everyone's working to be alpha and number one, I guarantee you most people, like only one will be alpha or number one. This is how it works. It's just it's a scam. It just plays like that. Not just merely the competitive edge, but it's just kind of like everyone is watching the same video, and then you'll see like lots of people commenting in the comments for this one video about how to like alpha body language on and on it goes. I'm like, so you're all actors. None of you are all real. So it's just like none of y'all know who you are. So as a result, you're just taking stuff up in terms of like status and power and wealth and all these different social projects and goals that you don't actually value, but you're looking for love and acknowledgement and wanting to be a part of something important. And so the military offers that. And then when you're there, you may get involved with situations, but with people who make you feel like, wow, I'm desirable. Wow, I can do stuff. Wow, I have a band of brothers. I have people who acknowledge me. And we've had these experiences and we've had these stories. We've had these laughs. And like all these like, it's almost like a type of there's a story, but there's also like some theatrics to it too. And there's also just, you get exposed to so much variety and so much richness in life and situations that it just makes you feel like, wow, this life is wonderful, but also terrifying. And yeah, it's just very rich to me. So that's what just looking at this section is just bringing to mind. And even though I was thinking of giving an examination at the end, it's just this part, this time it just came to mind and so on. So yeah, the nightlife in Thailand was just like he had seen and heard about in large U.S. cities like New York, Chicago, and places in California. Soldier's good time in each disco club was constantly interrupted by GIs coming over to Soldier asking to dance with Linda. Linda would always say no, act indignant, and snuggle up close to Soldier as if they were loving long-time lovers. When Linda refused the advances of the other GIs, it made Soldier feel important. He finally had a beautiful girl that was his own. Oh, I'm sure lots of y'all guys can relate. So, in each club, there were small groups of sexy and extremely well-dressed girls standing together, usually near the bar or in a corner. The girls would slow dance with each other until a GI would come over and ask for a dance. On the dance floor, the girls could be seen tongue-kissing and slow grinding the drunken GIs, resulting in some of the pairs leaving arm in arm. The sight of the group of girls puzzled Soldier. Linda, seeing the curiosity on Soldier's face, laughed and offhandedly said, "Oh, de katoy, boy." What's katoy? Oh, okay, he's gonna ask. Okay, that GI got big surprise in bed tonight. Soldier, confused, asked, pausing, "What is katoy, boy?" Linda said, "Not really girl. They boy that look like girl. Very beautiful." Ah, okay, okay. So, like a tranny or like a, what would I call it? Almost you could say cross dresser or something. I don't know the categories these days, honestly, but I know what she means. Yeah, that's quite common. Soldier pulled Linda close and said, "I'm glad that you are all girl," and kissed her. And in fact, it actually brings up stories of like sometimes soldiers will get involved with these katoy boys or whatever, and then they'd freak out when they realize, yo, you're a dude. You looked like a chick, but you're a dude. And then unfortunately, they'd murder them because it was too the shock was too great. Or like this, why did you trick me? What did you do? Why did you put me through this? Obviously, I'm into women, but you're a guy, and now just lots of lasered, crazy situations. But so that night in the hotel, Soldier enjoyed one of the most satisfying sexual nights of his young life. Linda had again baited him, only this time they were in the tub together. After a bath, Linda casually walked over to a horizontally shaped ice chair. I really hate reading these scenes. It's just like the first time I just read it, I was trying to read it fast. I was like, oh Lord, don't tell me this is gonna. I already knew it was gonna happen, but I wasn't expecting it to be written like this. If I did, I would have skipped it. But it's just like basically they have sexy time. That's all you need to know. And that's all you need to know. I'm not trying to read erotica for you or even though this is real, this is raw. Soldiers go through this, people go through this. We all know what this is, and I'm reading for adults, obviously, but still, I just want to keep myself clean when it comes to these things. So yeah, since I already struggle with a porn addiction and I'm trying to get over, so yeah. So what's going on? So that night and into the early morning, Soldier and Linda lay in bed, making love and talking. Soldier told Linda his life story and about how he was nearly killed several times in the war. She told Soldier her story, as she told many other GIs, how she came to work in the city to support her very poor family living in the countryside. Yeah, quite typical. Linda had been lying awake, looking at the Soldier and thinking about how love-hungry young Americans are and the abundance of money they have. Yeah, they have money, but they lack love. Yeah, quite typical, but it's very fascinating. So many different things to explore. Anyway, she continued to be in deep thought, planning her day. Soldier felt a gentle touch and opened his eyes to see Linda smiling as she gently stroked his chest. It was almost noon now, and they enjoyed each other again. Linda got out of bed and said, "I go back to work now." Soldier's joy sank. He quickly asked, "If I go back with you, can I pay for you to stay another night with me?" Linda looked him directly in his eyes and said, "If you want me, you can pay for 3 to 4 days, and I stay with you all the time." Soldier's heart leapt at the thought of spending the rest of his R&R with this beautiful, vibrant young woman. He said, "I'll give you the money. Promise me that you'll come back." "I promise I'll be back 6 o'clock this evening," Linda replied. Soldier gave Linda $120. "I'll be waiting," he said. Following the exchange, Linda left to return to work. After Linda left, Soldier counted his money. He only had a few dollars left, another 4 days to go. Soldier quickly dressed and went down to the street where he found his driver sitting in his tuk-tuk under a palm tree, benefiting from the shade. When the driver saw Soldier, he smiled a big grin and said, "I see your girl. She very happy. Say she come spend 4 more days with you," Soldier said. "I hope so," the driver replied. "You no worry. She number 1 girl. She come back see you." So yeah, I can tell like Soldier just he very much wants love, companionship, and it's not just like a sexual thing for him. It's just very much like it's nice to be with someone who wants to be with you, even though he's paying for it. And honestly, it's quite typical. It's quite common of like men who get like escorts, prostitutes, or on and on it goes and so on. Just looking for someone to talk to, someone to be with. That's usually what pushes people towards these kind of things. Even men who watch lots of porn, even they're usually like lonely, or they like purpose or meaning, and on and on it goes. Just ain't looking for connection, and like he said about the sense of American love-hungry young Americans with abundance of money. In this case, you see this young man with not much money and not much love, and you can say not much love for himself even. So, and as he keeps hinting at, there's a sense of lots of these guys, they themselves don't feel very lovable, and they probably don't have much love for themselves too. Hence, as a result, you could say it's easier to prey on them. There's a structure of like you could say exploitation, even though you might try to call it like a business, but this is just what it is. It's like Linda comes from a countryside from a poor family, so she has to sell herself for money, and then knowing her skills, her charm, her beauty, and on it goes, she knows how to seduce young men, young soldiers in this case, who can spend money on her, and so on, so she can live the life that she needs. And then these soldiers leave either they may leave sexually satisfied, but there'll be a part of them that's definitely empty. They'll feel cheated. This was not what they're looking for, or there might be a sense of like a mutual dehumanization, a mutual sense of like, well, we weren't buying each other to be in a particular fantasy of intimacy and love and sex and all this other stuff. There's a sense of like, well, you're just my masturbation toy, and then maybe from the woman's end might not just be you're my masturbation toy, but maybe like, oh, you're like my bank account right now. So it's a corruption of a human relationship, corruption of just intimacy and the uses of money. It's and a caricature of like male female relationships when it comes to romance and love and so on. So despite what psychologists like Orion Tarbon might say and so on, and try to use economic metaphors to structure this, which is more skeletal and loses touch with like the muscles, the circulation system, the nerves, and the skin. Because the economic structure is just more of the skeleton. That's the schematic feature of these things. But overall, it's living. It's a whole organic body of life. And this life is animated by the Spirit of God. And we're made in His image to express who He is as very intimate, loving. He serves, He guides, He teaches, and He very much values. So I wish Linda and Soldier knew their value, and they knew that their creator very much loves them. And yeah, so let me continue. Soldier asked the driver to take him back to the reception station. They arrived at the reception station 30 minutes later, just as another load of GIs charged out the door looking for taxi drivers and fun in Bangkok. Soldier found who he was looking for, the skinny lieutenant. He was talking to an enlisted man, a non-commissioned officer, NCO, who apparently worked at the reception station. Soldier asked the lieutenant, "Excuse me, sir, may I talk to you about an urgent matter?" Before Soldier could utter another word, the lieutenant looked at him and said, "Either the Thai police are looking for you, you missed your flight back to paradise in Nam, you got the clap, you're broke, or all of the above." Before Soldier could utter yet another word, the lieutenant then smiled and said, "How can I help you, killer?" Soldier said, "Not quite as bad as all of that, sir. I need to get an advance on my pay." Without raising an eyebrow, the lieutenant instructed the NCO standing next to him, "Take this soldier to finance and take care of him." As the two of them walked to the finance office, the NCO warned Soldier to watch his money. The NCO continued, "Some GIs spend all of the cash they bring with them, and their max advance in 3 days. Those soldiers end up having to take an early flight back." Soldier withdrew his maximum pay advance of 3 months and decided that he was going to enjoy himself. That evening, as 6 o'clock rolled around, Linda had not returned and Soldier felt sick to his stomach. For the next hour, Soldier laid on his bed in emotional misery. The lowest of doldrums he had ever experienced. Never heard seen that word doldrum, but I'll put as perhaps depression and set of period inactivity, stagnation, depression. Okay, I can tell like this would be quite, he does seem quite melancholic, especially if he's this love deprived and romance oriented. Because the fact that this is not merely sexual for him, but a matter of feeling desirable and even wanting intimacy, willing to buy intimacy, even and so on. This naturally reveals someone who's romantically oriented, and we also could say that we saw him looking out the window daydreaming, so he's a dreamer. So he has a deep feeling in our world and a sensitivity to him. So that will, and also he's a young man here at that, so that naturally lends itself to melancholy, if you will. And probably listens to lots of love songs too. It's like so. It's something that's quite familiar because I was quite similar when I was his age, especially given my family background and dysfunctional family and not having a sense of purpose, not knowing who I was, and on it goes. So this is one of those things. So yeah. So Soldier waited and waited. Around 7:15 p.m., Soldier heard a knock on his hotel room door. When he opened it, there was his Linda. Wow. See, just that sentence. There was his Linda. The sense of he already feels like she's the one for him, or who he wants to be with. Maybe this may even be the first woman he's ever been with him, and at least in a way that's deeply resonant, not merely sexual. Because he put it as like he felt, I guess, nervous when he saw her and so on. So the mysteries of love, the mysteries of romance, actually worth exploring. I'll probably explore it with some of the poems I've written in the past and songs and so on, like my Romantic Horror to Righteous Bride series, exploring the nature of romance and love, because it's a huge feature in life and a huge part of the kind of person that I am, despite my warrior mentality and orientation, and obviously my intellectual and musical dispositions. So yeah, so Soldier's eyes lit up like the grand finale fireworks on the 4th of July. Soldier, gazing at Linda, noticed that she was dressed and made up more beautifully than the last time he saw her. Oh, so maybe she took her time. Okay. Soldier took Linda into his arms and said, "I was so afraid you wouldn't come back." It's interesting, the word choice, afraid you wouldn't come back. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't because because then you took like the last of my money, merely that. It's like, I was afraid that you wouldn't come back, you, my Linda. So for the next 4 days, Soldier and Linda spent every moment together. The driver took the couple to the ancient Thai temples, to the floating markets on the Chao Phraya River, to see Thai dancing, to sword fighting exhibitions, and to snake farms that showed men handling deadly cobras and giant boa constrictors. During the evenings and into the night, Soldier and Linda dined in Bangkok's finest restaurants and played in its best night spots. On the 5th day, it was time for Soldier to leave and return to Vietnam. He had never before in his life felt so sad about having to leave anyone or any place as he felt about leaving this one. Soldier thought about missing his flight, but without money it would be a lost cause. Realizing he had no choice but to go, Soldier and Linda shared one last tender moment before Soldier left the hotel for the reception station, and ultimately his flight back to the war zone. Soldier knew that if he extended his tour in Vietnam, that he could return to Bangkok for another R&R in 6 months. 6 months seemed like a long time to Soldier because he had to leave Linda behind. Soldier did not want anyone else touching Linda because he now considered her to be his girl. Before leaving Linda, Soldier promised that he'd send her money every month so that she would not have to work in a massage parlor. Linda gave him her address, and Soldier left self-addressed envelopes for her to write him every week. Linda rode in a tuk-tuk cab with Soldier to the reception station, departure area for his flight back to Vietnam. Before boarding the plane, Soldier gave Linda his last $100 and promised to send more. Soldier and Linda kissed passionately, and she promised that she would wait until he returned. On the way back to her bungalow, she had her driver make 3 stops. Her first stop was at the Thai main post office, where she went to her mailbox and retrieved several envelopes, 3 of them written in English. She smiled and put them in her purse. On the way to her second stop, Linda opened the letters and found that her wealth had increased another $250. The tuk-tuk cab stopped at the Bangkok bank, where Linda went inside and deposited into her account $300, converting the additional 50 into Thai baht. Her last stop was to a fancy Thai boutique to pick up her new tailor-made American-style outfit that she planned to wear next week for another soldier who was returning for a second R&R. She then headed home to get ready for work. And that's the end of chapter 1. And it ended exactly how I was expecting. It's like this young man was being ripped off. Because it's a fantasy situation. It's set up that way. It's like, but he's naive and, he wants love. When you're naive and when you don't love, you're really tricked. Because you don't have discernment. Not trying to discern people's character. You don't know how the world around you works or how a situation you're not familiar with may work. And even with scams, one of the main features of a scam is there's always a sense it feels too good to be true when it comes to people whose character you're not familiar with, a situation you're not familiar with, and who just, it's fool's gold, all that glitters. It's not gold, so, Linda means pretty, right? So, that's why this verse, let's actually look at it. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain. And this is something that's constantly being reinforced to me since, like many men, probably all heterosexual men, all men with a orientation towards women, it's very easy to pursue the vanity of beauty and to give into fantasy and to be lured in by charm, though charm is easy for me to cut through because I don't really care to be charmed because I'm not desperate for love necessarily. I don't really trust people like that. But beauty is still very much a struggle where it still very much comes hypnotizing and you want to pour in and draw in and then to explore. It's like an invitation for you to try to, instead of like exploring and figuring out the character of the person you're dealing with, you try to almost construct a present, construct a future even. So you're too hasty. But a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. A woman who respects the Creator who made that woman in His image and His likeness. So it's a really great first chapter. And I like how it starts with rest and recuperation, and how even in this rest and recuperation, there's still so much draining. He's been financially drained, emotionally drained, and there's a sense of once he figures this out, he'll feel existentially drained and disoriented. So the rest and recuperation is almost, it's ironic. Just now, he's more tired and he's gained a new wound, a very deep wound. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it here. Thanks for listening. We'll continue with chapter 2 next time. I'm going to upload this. Feel free to comment. Let me know what y'all think. And if y'all like this format for how I read, where I read and try to get pictures and even things to kind of like help us immerse ourselves more into this beautiful story. And I want to thank Mr. Stokes, Mr. Charles D. Stokes, for this story. It's very important, and to write a story that's very accessible. So I can put it. The writing itself is very accessible. It's very keen, but it's like when you read between the lines, there's lots of depth of feeling, and how he structures it. So it's like he makes it so you can predict and unfold and see what he wants you to understand and what he wants you to feel. And it's very well crafted, very well crafted. So I look forward to continuing and finishing this book and the other two books. So yeah, take care, y'all. God bless, and Lord, glory be to you. And leave it in your hands. Amen.